It's so funny, a student came up to me yesterday and they're like, I just heard so-and-so say the P word. I'm like, what's the P word?
What's the P word?
And they're like, it's like pissed. And I'm like,
oh.
If only you knew what we said in my house sometimes.
That is the P word, isn't it?
I was like, you know what? It could have been a whole lot worse.
Roll the intro.
What do we have here before I'm gonna sip away?
Pink Italian spritzer. I might be saying that wrong. Anyways, lemonade with raspberry and then Prosecco. This is a topic that we've gotten a lot of feedback on with our friends here on YouTube and also in our Facebook group. Like a lot of women especially, and men too, but women especially have really jumped on this bandwagon. They were really excited for us to talk about things like this. So here we are again.
Talking about forgiveness, thinking that through, like not to put you on the spot, but again, putting you on the spot as I usually do, because that's my job.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. Is there anything that you can think of that you would want to ask Chris for forgiveness for? Knowing that like I spent time in prayer about this, like I like picked through, like we had to list several things, and I just really focused on the main thing that I thought like I needed to ask Derek forgiveness for.
I've not done that. I've not spent time praying about it or really thinking that through. I would imagine if I had, I probably would have a more in-depth answer for this. I ask Chris to forgive me for things all the time because sometimes I can be rude. Sometimes I can be dismissive. I have a bad habit of taking things out on Chris. Like if I'm frustrated, and it doesn't take a whole lot to get me flustered with things. Like yesterday, it's just normal life stuff. It felt like all of a sudden my phone was going off, my kids were asking for things, and then he was trying to tell me something, and I was just like, rah! And he's usually the one that I take.
Me too.
Yeah, that it gets it. Like he's usually the one I take it out on, probably because he's my safest place. I know no matter what I say or do, like, we'll work through that. It's not anything personal to him. It's just how it goes sometimes.
As I had mentioned to you previously, of Derek and I like to scoreboard. Is it a contract or is it a commitment?
Ooh, that's good.
I hate to say this, but I'm totally looking at marriage as a contract. You do this for me, I'll do this for you. You do this for me, I do this for you.
Yeah.
And I don't think Derek is so about that, but I know I am. But I know that he's very prideful and stubborn, and same with me. Very prideful, stubborn, always wanting to be right. And so that just caused for a huge explosions waiting to happen.
That's a lot of friction.
That's a lot of friction. We're able to put our pride aside and we're able to humble ourselves. You know what? I admit that I suck in this area. Also put forth the effort to change. It's huge for yourself, but also huge for your partner.
Yeah.
But
I think when your marriage is successful, I mean, everyone wins. Nobody's sitting back going, ha ha, we're doing great and it's all me. Like that, if that's the mindset, then you're not successful.
How is it that we can get better, and where is it that I'm falling short? It's more of not about Derek, but it's about myself.
Which completely obliterates the whole scoring situation.
Yep, it does.
And I know lots of people who do this, men and women who do this, and I feel like it is one of the worst things you can do in a marriage. There are going to be times where he is right and I am wrong, and there are going to be times where I am right and he is wrong. Humbling yourself, like as we just said, it's hard to do in the best of circumstances. But when you have this whole like, well, I've done all of this right. I mean, it gets even harder than to humble yourself and say I was wrong. The other thing too that I will bring up, admit that they did something wrong. Like I said this and I did this that was wrong.
But there was like 3 words they said to avoid.
Yeah, you say that word, but now it takes everything, all the wrongs that you just did, and makes it not count. That but says, well, I did this, but they did something worse.
Yes.
And so therefore I'm okay. It goes back to the scoring thing, and don't do it.
And I love our small group leader saying, yes, forgive. Absolutely forgive. That's the right thing to do. Forgive, but that doesn't mean you forget.
No, you don't forget.
You don't forget.
No.
You can forgive and you can move forward.
You genuinely forgive something, you let it go.
Let it go. That's yep.
I forgive you. And it's done. It's happened. It's past. We're going to move on. And it means not bringing it up in arguments, not trying to throw it in anybody's face. Your spouse comes to you and is putting themselves out there in a very vulnerable position saying, I did this, it was wrong, and I'm sorry. It's not the time to be like, I know. Don't do that.
Yeah, no. I struggle with the demeaning thing. As Derek openly shares, and I'm okay with sharing this because that's his permission, but it really took him to suck up his pride and for me to keep my mouth zipped. That his struggle and asking for me for forgiveness for is sloth-like and laziness. It did take me a lot to reserve myself and be like, hello, that's what I've been talking about. Thank God God was there and showed up and he zipped my mouth. But Derek was able to say those things out loud because I know that took a lot for him to do that. Spoke volumes to me. So again, with the demeaning, I'm specifically trying to get better in that area because that is what I had asked forgiveness for. So it's not like, oh, I'm not gonna ask forgiveness, but then I'm gonna do it again.
Right. So you have to mean it. If you don't mean it,
you gotta try. God forgives us for all the
everything.
Stuff. Trying to look at Derek and myself in the same light.
We all have our things that we fall short of, that we're not ever going to live up to a certain level of expectation. All we can ask of people is just do the best you can.
All you can do.
And when you do fall short, when that happens, because it will.
You
just got to learn from it and just go. You can look back on things, but just don't hang out there for too long.
You're on the same team.
Yeah, you're partners.
On the same team.
Yes.
Stop fighting against each other. Work with each other.
Yeah.
You want the same thing.
Yes.
Hopefully you guys took something away from our marital talks here. Again, not always easy to share.
Experience that you learned from, that you've gone through and said, this is what we learned. This is the takeaway that we have from going through this. Please share it.
Okay.
It's really good.
Good talk.